Part 3. When I reached Baker Street that night, Holmes was not alone. Peter Jones, a police detective we know, was there. So was a man introduced to me as Mr. Merryweather. "Tonight," said Holmes, "Jones will arrest John Clay, murderer, thief, and master forger. For you, Mr. Merryweather, tonight is worth 30,000. Holmes led us back to the busy street we had visited that morning. Then Merryweather led us down a dark alley and through several doors and gates, unlocking all, then relocking them behind us. We ended up in a huge cellar filled with crates. "You're safe from above," said Holmes, raising his lantern to check the ceiling. "From below, too," said Mr. Merryweather, striking his cane on the floor. "Dear me," he cried, "it sounds quite hollow." Quite," hissed Holmes. "You may have endangered our entire mission. Please go sit on that crate." He ordered each of us to a shadowy corner to sit in silence. He took the lantern and his large magnifying glass and got down on his hands and knees. He crawled about, examining the rough stone floor, especially the cracks between the stones. Then he sprang up, looking pleased. "We have at least an hour to wait. They can't start their work until our red-headed friend, Mr. Wilson, goes to bed. Then they will have to work fast in order to get what they're after. They then have plenty of time to escape. I'm sure, Watson, that you've guessed where we are by now. In the basement of the bank we saw this afternoon, on the street around the corner from Mr. Wilson's shop." I had seen the bank, of course, but it hadn't meant anything to me at the time. "Mr. Merryweather here," Holmes continued, waving toward our host, "is the director of this bank. He can tell you what our clever friends are after." "Our French gold," whispered the bank director. "We had to borrow 30,000 French gold Napoleons a few months ago, but never unpacked them. There are 2,000 of those gold coins in this crate I'm sitting on. There are many others like it, as you can see. It's supposed to be a secret that they are here, but we've been warned that the word is out on the criminal's grapevine. Still, until Mr. Holmes came to me today, I had no idea how close danger was." For a while, Holmes let us talk in whispers, but then he ordered complete silence and stillness. He darkened the lantern. He also had me take out my army pistol and have it ready. He asked Jones, the police detective, if Wilson's front door, the criminal's only other way out, was being watched. It was. We sat and waited. The cold, dank air mixed with the deep darkness and silence was depressing. My nerves were jangled with excitement, though, making the hour and a half we waited seem far longer than it really was. I could feel my muscles growing cramped and stiff, and was trying to stretch without making a sound, when suddenly my eye caught a glint of light. It was coming from the stone floor. In moments it grew from a mere spark to a thin light to a bright burst. Then, from below, a hand appeared and felt the floor around the hole. It disappeared, and then there was a sudden grating noise, and a chunk of floor stone was turned over. Lantern light spilled into the basement shadows as a head rose from out of the hole in the floor. A clean-cut, boyish-looking face squinted into the shadows, but didn't see us. It was the fellow Holmes had asked directions of on our walk earlier that day. He pulled himself up through the hole, then turned to whisper, "All clear, Archie." Up popped another head, one with the shock of bright red hair. "Let's get to work before." Just then, Holmes came flying out from his hiding place. "Great Scott! Run for it, Archie!" yelled the first man as Holmes grabbed his collar. Jones made a grab for Archie, but all he got was a fistful of cloth, as would-be thief's shirt, ripped apart in his hands. The man in Holmes' grip tried to pull out a gun, but Holmes was too fast for him. He slashed his cane down on the villain's hand, and the man's gun flew away. "It's no use, John Clay," Holmes told him mildly. "You are caught at last." "So I see," said the other man, cool as could be. "But you've lost my friend." "No," said Holmes. "He'll be met at the door by 3 policemen." "Indeed," said John Clay. "You've done very well, sir." "So have you," said Holmes. "Your red-headed league was quite brilliant." Jones stepped forward and clapped handcuffs onto Clay's wrists. Clay glared and straightened his back indignantly. "I beg you not to touch me with your filthy hands," he told Jones. "And if you must address me, always say 'sir' and 'please.' I have royal blood in my veins." Jones snickered, then told his prisoner, "All right, sir. Would you please, sir, march upstairs to the cab that will carry your highness to the police station?" "That's better," sniffed Clay. He made a sweeping bow to Holmes, Merryweather, and me, then stalked off with the police detective. "Mr. Holmes, I don't know how I can ever thank or repay you," said Merryweather, shaking his friend's hand. "I have come across John Clay's wicked trail before," said Holmes. "I'm sure that the bank will repay me. But my biggest reward has been catching that villain and getting a chance to hear Mr. Wilson's remarkable story of the Red-Headed League."